When Ray Matsubachi told me in Alabama about Speakers Roundtable, Speakers Associates, which I'd never heard of, I just said, gee, I'd love to know about it. He said about these people meet annually and share. And so after I met him, the people that I met were just so unbelievable. It just shaped my life. Because Speakers Roundtable gave me a family to relate to, belong to, be a part of. And I think that's so important. I think it's just like a pastor being accountable to a board of directors. I've never gone to a meeting that I wasn't challenged and stimulated, encouraged. You know, Fred Smith says that we all know all the truth, but it's being fortunate enough to have somebody come across your path who's living that truth, who activates that principle. And I think that's been the beauty of sitting at all the discussions and the arguments and the differences and how they complement each other, and each of us so different. Herb True and Art Holst and each of those fellows, and Bill Gove. I always felt Bill was the greatest salesman in the world. And Bill's cassette on People Love to Buy is still the only cassette I've ever listened to 5 consecutive times straight, because he's a professional. You know, it's the truth, but you can know the truth, but how you deliver the truth makes it entertaining, where the truth becomes really more than just a truth. It's just an experience. And I think being around those people, that rubs off on you. And I think the real you can't teach professionalism. You just be around professionals, and it rubs off on you. And then these are all old books that I've made, you know, some of the people are autographed. And most of our Speakers Roundtable, they're all here. And then these are ones that some of them are my great favorites. Go back a couple of years. That's 350 volumes of Abraham Lincoln over there. And also, that's all 37 of Oswald Chambers' books in hardback that I got over the years. But those are my heroes. We're going to look at other ones later on. But those are my heroes: Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, David Livingston, Sam Houston, George Patton, Ulysses S. Grant, Fulton Sheen, Winston Churchill, Watchman Nee, Will Rogers, Mark Twain, Daniel Webster, and there's several volumes of each, and Charles Spurgeon and Martin Luther. Now we have lots of other heroes, but those are the elite. Well, you know, Bert, I always come back to reading, and I really believe that our devotions that we have at Speakers Roundtable now has been one of the greatest tools, because reading together, see, if we had you speak, or Don Hudson speak, or Jim Cathcart speak, or Danny Cox speak, you'd all give good messages, because all of them have. Danny's given a wonderful talk, even at this we saw in the video last year. But we're used to hearing speakers, and we're used to hearing good speakers. But somehow when we read devotional things like Chambers or Fenelon or Spurgeon, there's something about those truths that were written 100 years ago or so, and your hearts just sort of blend together, and each of us get a different message. But then in my case, though, my book changed. I love books, give away books, use them in my training. But when I went through in about 1960, that 2.5 years of chronic fatigue syndrome, that's when I began to really read my heart. And I never got over that. That changed my life. And so now in recent years, Chambers, Tozer, Spurgeon, Fenelon, and I tell people I've had greater love affairs with my books than I've ever had with Gloria, my wife. Now you people say, well, that's terrible. No, Gloria will tell you, had it not been for my love affair with books, I could never love her the way I love her. And of course, without Gloria, and I tell her this all the time, she laughs and she doesn't believe me, but I wouldn't be anything without her either, because she gave me someone who, you need to be needed. She needed me. I pity a man who's married to someone who doesn't need him. And I need her and she needs me. Now I tell people, you know why Gloria and I are married 52 years? Not because I'm a good husband. We're married 52 years because she never left me. That's it. It's all the grace of God.
Madam Maestro of the Teddies. Hi, Gloria.
Hello, how are you?
Good. We're just doing a film tour of the Teddies.
Okay.
And there's, of course, there's books on all sides, but Those are motivational books, but look at all of the teddies. We're going to go up to the front teddies in a minute and show you the ones with the designer. Rows and rows of teddies, and tables of teddies, and storehouse of teddies and books and paraphernalia, back rooms and alleyways to get to other storehouses. But this is the teddy store. Desks that he has. Mickey Mantle right over here, signed autographed copies, and here's some beginning of the Civil War stuff, and then the eagles. In place of plaques, they sell eagles. Eagles for excellence, excellence in selling, excellence in performance. Corporate accounts, buy 10, 20 eagles at a time. Beginning in the Civil War, here's a Civil War material, Civil War pictures, Civil War placards. Much in Civil War and moving into the teddy bear area. Oh, there's another gramophone. Gramophone there. And eagle up there. Eagle's Civil War. So this is the room of Lincoln, Civil War materials, and a wide variety of eclectic interests that Charles Tremendous Jones has. Going into the teddy room. We leave Civil War and go into tremendous teddies.
But my Sunday school teacher was a shoe salesman like D.L. Moody. Handsome, new car, and very few people drove new cars in 1933. And he was my teacher. Oh, George Mowry. There's a picture right there on my desk. Then this is my Sunday school teacher. And I'm going to show you another one when I was 6 years old. That's George Mowry. I keep just to be reminded. And I've lived my life now for 49 years in Christ to be like him, because it was his love for children and the businessman that he was. He was my D.L. Moody. This is Charlie Jones in 1933. And this is Priscilla, the wife of George Mowry. And this is George Mowry, my Sunday school teacher. Now the beauty of how Christ works. This is me. This is me in 1951. I accepted Christ in 1950. And these are my little boys. And here I am, living my life over again for 49 years in Christ, like Christ lived in my Sunday school teacher, loving me through him. And so I like to show people how the impact of teaching Sunday school. And I believe the greatest training in the world. That's why Bold Assurance, I think, to me, is going to be one of the greatest tools in this coming century of any tool that's going to come out. Because it's going to teach people to do what, thank God, somebody did for me, but nobody does for hardly anybody. Do we have, is Gloria handy? And how about just Candy there? Okay, I need to know, well, tell her it doesn't matter. I'll return. I know there were some calls. So tell her all right. Well, tell everybody I'll be in an hour or so. Fine. This is all Europe, Mideast, and this whole thing here, these are all the international world changers, biographies. And then this whole section down here is all public speaking and humor and sermons. And of course, these are all first editions. Those are Danny and Don Hudson will love. We have 2 sets of almost everything of Albert Hubbard. And this is my old street organ. That's over 100 years old, about 130 years old. They used to carry that around, sit down, and do their street meetings. Excuse me. And here we played last night. This is the old type of phonograph. This one, I hope this is warmed up now. It should be, because it's a little warmer in here. Great, that's real music. You hold hands with your girl, that's romance. Oh man, I gotta go get Gloria. I don't like to hear that romantic music. Then after that came, these were the records about 1880. thick, and you never touched them. And of course, Charlie Plum was this record because this is about Kansas. And you never changed needles. Here we go, get ready.
People don't stay up very late, way out west in Kansas.
Oh, that's enough. But Charlie had to come back. Here's Rich DeVos, here's Bill Gove, Ira Hayes. So if you ever want to hear some good stuff, come to our library, and we have everything.
Who's this guy?
That's me in 64 or 5 at the Sunday School Convention in Michigan. And so this is all the Horatio Alger books. Too bad they're not read. You read one of those, you almost want to cry. The story of some dear poor boy who had everything against him, but the story of how he made it big good. That's been my magnificent obsession. That I'm grateful to God that He gave me. Because here I'm famous today for only one thing: getting people to read books. And I might not have been famous for anything had I not discovered books. He made me read to him verses. And every time I'd read a verse, he'd ask me to read it again until I could explain to him what it meant. And I would always have to say almost exactly. For example, he had me read, "There's none righteous, no, not one." He said, "Now read it again." And I read, "There's none righteous, no, not one." And he said, "What do you think that means?" And I think, "Well, that means there's none righteous, no, not one." Right. And he went through every verse. "There's none that understandeth." And then he came to the verse, "There's none that seek after God." And then after I read that 2 or 3 times, he says, "If no one seeks after God, how does anyone ever get to know God?" Well, I says, "God must seek after us." He says, "Right." Well, then I realized that day, you don't find God, He finds you. But that verse helped me see everybody's running around looking for God somewhere, or they even praying, "God, will you go with me?" Go with you, you can't get away from Him. Even before you're a Christian, you can't get away. So that's why I never got over the Bible. Because this guy did not know very much, but he knew enough to keep his mouth shut. And let me read those verses. And then read this one. And it was Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. "For by grace you are saved through faith, not of yourself. It's a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast." And he said, "Now how do you become a saved or Christian?" I said, "Well, having faith and doing the best you can." I was afraid he was trying to trick me. He said, "No, read it again." So he had me read. I've read that several times. Then I finally saw, I didn't believe it, but I saw what God was saying. I'm saved by grace. And he explained that was unmerited favor. I can't deserve it. I'm saved by grace through faith, not of myself. It's a gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast. I said, "God, make me a Christian." And you know what? I didn't get a great feeling or anything. And I thought, maybe God doesn't believe I mean it. So I'll accept Christ twice. Then He'll know I really mean it. So I did. I prayed, accepted Christ again. And I love to make the point that I'm glad God never gave me a feeling, because I had plenty of feelings before I was a Christian. What He gave me, when He saved me, He gave me assurance. He gave me His words. He gave me His promises. And He gave me His Spirit. The things that I wish I were a theologian. I wish I had seminary. I wish I were like some of the giants I've known. But I'm so thankful that I have everything they have. I don't have all the things that may be the extra benefits or what have you, but I have everything I need in Christ.
And there is the house where people live, and over here is another, that's the pastor's house, and over here, way over, is the Charlie's office. And that's Charlie there going into someplace. This is the property. This is the field and the farm. And this is, looking into the sun, the house.
That's enough, boys. Have some fun later. And this is the old Civil War. This is where they used to think, all we changed it. This was the doorway where they took all the stuff out when they did their milling. And the marble slabs out there are left over from the Lincoln Monument. And he helped put those in years ago. But this is the old fireplace. This is, in the winter, normally we light this up. This is the old gas fireplace that they heated the house with at the turn of the century. And then this is the old gramophone like we played in the other place. Oh. And then these are these are the gramophone records. That's the way the records were in those days.
My.
That goes on there, and then the music came out there. And then these are his old tools that go back about almost on some of these. And there's just so many old things to look at. That's the old dark room. And so many things to look at when you come over here. But the main thing I want to show you down. There's a rainbow in the sky. So let's have another cup of coffee and let's have another piece of pie. Just a bubble and the colors will go by. So let's have another cup of coffee and let's have another piece of pie. Let us grab your umbrella. It's just an April shower. Even if it's not color, it won't be cold. Silver lining. Remember, says now's the time to buy. So let's have another cup of coffee and let's have another piece of pie.
That's the upstairs where the piano rolls are, and the kids in the museum, and the horse tack,
Come on, Blossom.
and the piano player with the single man drum. And down here is the Christmas store room, the kids' place.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I guess, well, this will be all right. No, you just understand that there's a little chair here.
Oh, good. I love red chairs.
Now, this is Christmas time, and June or July, doesn't matter. We Christmas every day here. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to find one that we all know first, and Bert knows this one too. So here we go. Dashing through the snow, in one horse open sleigh, on uphill we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits rise. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight! Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on horse open sleigh! Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on horse open sleigh! Oh, all of you, because you were good kids. Now, here's your teddy bear, and here's your little bearing good tidings. Jesus' love fills our heart.
Yeah.
And so, because you were all good, we're filling up all your bags with candy. Oh, look at that, and this is great. And these are good, these are chocolates. So that helps a lot of people see that to finish your course with joy. So if you go out with terrible pain of cancer or some tragedy, of course you're going to grieve, of course you're going to hurt, of course you have feelings, but joy never changes because God doesn't give you joy. He gives you Jesus Christ, who is my joy. So when I lay over there, I get my radiation from my cancer, and I'm quoting scriptures, and I'm singing hymns in my mind, and the nurses are coming in and asking me questions about Christ, and next month. So what a joy it is of all. You can't imagine that when you're young, because you can't imagine yourself dying. As years go by, you realize you're not dying, and you're going home. And he's with you here, or you're with him there, but I have everything I need in Christ.
Says now's the time to